Welcome back to the Chad Hasty Show on News Talk 95.1 FM and 790 AM KFYO. Joining us on the phones right now, Texas Railroad Commissioner Christi Craddock back on KFYO. And Commissioner Craddock, welcome back to the show. How are you today?
I'm well. Thanks for having me this morning.
Absolutely. Tell folks you're going to be in Lubbock tomorrow. Tell folks about your visit out here to Lubbock, Texas.
You know, I always love coming to West Texas and the Panhandle because it's where the real folks are, right? And you'll tell me what's really going on. But one of the things I'm coming out to be part of and I'm excited about is Texas Tech doing a partnership with the VA hospital. Can't find anything more important than, quote, rural health care, even though Lubbock's a little bit bigger than the rural world. But health care is really important in our state, and I'm excited to be out there and look forward to visiting with people about what's going on, not just in the oil and gas industry, but what they think is going on in the country right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So what is going on? I guess, you know, we have that going on here in Lubbock tomorrow, but in the oil and gas industry in Texas, which is so important to this state, what is going on in the oil and gas industry in this state?
Well, as usual, and what's important is Texas is the leader. So we're producing about 3.5 million barrels of oil a day, 22 BCF of natural gas. That's about a third of the country's oil and a fourth of the country's natural gas. And to tell you how important we are, the president and the vice president have been in our state in the last 2 weeks. The president making an announcement in Crosby, Texas about executive orders having to do with pipelines, and the vice president was in Midland last week and toured an oil rig and wanted to know what was going on in oil and gas. So Washington gets that we're the leader, and they want us as an agency, the Railroad Commission, to continue to do our job and keep Washington, D.C. out of our business, and I think that's a real plus.
You have, in speaking of a pipeline, a story that I guess it came out yesterday that the Texas Railroad Commission, along with some others, are being sued over a pipeline. What can you say about that? I guess this has to deal with eminent domain and a pipeline that would carry energy, basically, from West Texas through the state of Texas.
You know, we haven't been served officially with the lawsuit, so I can't comment on the lawsuit itself. But eminent domain is an issue the legislature's looking at, and as an agency, our job at the Railroad Commission is to permit pipeline companies and to follow and to do pipeline safety inspections. And part of that permitting, we look at what kind of pipeline they are. We have 3 in statute: common carrier, gas utility, and a private pipeline. If you're a common carrier or a gas utility, by statute, the legislature's passed through the years, you're allowed to use eminent domain. Obviously, that's a topic, and that's important, and property rights are very important in the state and have been historically. It's also important that we build pipelines. Yeah. We want to get product to market. We have 450,000 miles of pipeline in this state, so it's not a new issue in this state. Pipelines are really important if you can't get it to market, and we're doing by building additional pipelines in the state is getting trucks off the roads. So it's a balancing act for industry. It's a balancing act for the state, trying to figure out how to both build pipelines and have effective property rights.
Well, and Commissioner Craddock, the last time I had someone on with the Texas Railroad Commission, I think it was one of your colleagues, that we were talking about pipelines in the state, and I believe that they had said that we are severely lacking in pipelines when it comes to the output that we see in West Texas and in the state. Is that still the case right now?
It is still a challenge for us, but I always believe market-driven pipelines, and when people want to build anything through the market, it works. And what we've seen in the last year is 6 to 8 pipelines have been announced to be built coming out of the Permian Basin. 1 is operational, 2 have broken ground, and we'll see if those others get built. There was another announcement last week about additional pipeline capacity. So, you know, we can drill all we want, but if we can't get it to market, and our market base is really our ports along our Gulf Coast, we can't get it to market, then it doesn't matter how much we drill. So that's why I said it's a real challenge to balance that. By the way, we're not just sending it all to the Gulf Coast, we're sending it across the country. And so you got to make sure you can get it across the world, frankly.
Yeah, absolutely. We're visiting with Texas Railroad Commissioner Christi Craddock here on the Chad Hasty Show. She'll be in Lubbock tomorrow. And when it comes to the Texas legislative session, you had mentioned some eminent domain bills that y'all were keeping an eye on at the Railroad Commission. Are there any other issues that y'all are paying close attention to making their way or maybe making their way through the process down in Austin?
You know, as an agency, our priority has been budget and continues to be so. We are a fee-based agency, meaning the industry pays for us to be in business. And so when we've had some downturns in the last few years, although we're doing great right now, and with improved technology, meaning we don't have as many drilling permits that we issue, but we don't need to because we're developing one pad site that they're doing directional drilling, horizontal drilling, 4 to 5 different directions instead of just poking one hole. That's part of the new wave of technology. And so we have been an agency that we bring in, as you might imagine, a lot more into the state than we're allowed to use. And so our priorities have been to pay our people enough, to make sure we've got trucks. Everybody knows if your vehicle doesn't work, you can't go out and do inspections and do your job. And we're an agency that has IT, meaning our computer system is old, meaning we're about 40 years old. We're Fortran based on a mainframe. So if anybody'd like a job, we might be looking for people to help us maintain that. But we have asked to have access to our dollars that we bring in as fees. To upgrade that system, we want to continue to be more transparent and be more efficient, quite frankly, and that's a priority for us. And so when you look at what the legislature's looking at this session, obviously they're talking about rainy day fund. Rainy day fund is severance taxes. That is oil and gas taxes that when we sever the minerals from the land, the industry pays taxes. There's about almost $12 billion sitting in that rainy day fund. We don't have access to that as an agency. We're not asking for access, but we want those dollars. We'd really like to see those dollars be put to use in other places, which the legislature's talking about as well. And so we've got a lot of conversations about budget and where they spend all of our dollars smart and hopefully not raise a lot of taxes as we go into this cycle too.
Yeah. Visiting with Texas Railroad Commissioner Christi Craddock. Christi, before I let you go, if people have any questions on the Texas Railroad Commission, what y'all are up to, or just any information they need about the Railroad Commission, how can they get that info?
Well, obviously we have a Railroad Commission website. If you've got specifics at the Railroad Commission. If not, you're welcome to contact me, and my website is christicraddock.com. We'd love to give good information out and make sure, and we tweet, we Facebook, both from me personally and from the Railroad Commission. So sign up to get our information. We want to make sure we have good information out there.
Commissioner Christi Craddock, always pleasure having you on the show, and we welcome you to Lubbock tomorrow.
Thank you. Make sure the rain's gone by the time I get there, will you please?
Well, I mean, we kind of like the rain right now, but we'll have it take a few hours off.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Commissioner Christi Craddock, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay.
You have a good day.